But did you know? In a quiet shadowy corner of Griswold, Connecticut sits the Ray family farm, where an eerie and chilling story unfolded in the mid-1800s. The macabre tale involves death, disease, and a desperate belief in the supernatural. The Ray family, a large farming clan, faced a mysterious affliction that left family member after family member falling ill and dying an agonizing death. Before the wasting disease's devastating impact, the Ray family consisted of Henry B. Ray, his wife, Lucy H., and their 4 sons, Lemuel Billings, Alicia H., Henry Nelson, and Adeline. The mysterious affliction would wreak absolute havoc through the Ray family over the course of the next decade. In 1845, Lemuel Ray, the youngest Ray son, was the first to show signs of distress. A deep rattling cough set in that would leave him covered in drenching sweat and fill his handkerchief with dark circles of blood. As the weeks passed, the pain to simply breathe was intolerable, and Lemuel was only a shadow of himself, having lost almost half his body weight. At only 24 years old, his death marked the beginning of a series of tragedies that would haunt the Ray household for years to come. Only 4 short years later, in 1849, Lemuel's father Henry B. Ray started coughing as he worked the fields of his family farm. As his cough turned into blood-stained piles of rags beside his bed, he was no longer able to care for the family farm. Still grieving Lemuel's death, the family watched as the head of the household also wasted away to nothing. Passing away with his family surrounding him, Henry B. Ray was the second Ray to die. A dark omen was back upon the family only 2 years later, as Alicia Ray had all the same symptoms as his father and brother. The family, helpless to change his fate, watched as he fell victim to the same illness. Death continued to lurk in the shadows, waiting to claim the next member of the Ray family. Alicia Ray would be the 3rd Ray to pass away. The deaths were relentless, and as the fatalities accumulated, the remaining members of the Ray family began grasping for answers. With no answers, they became convinced that they were plagued by vampires. They believed that the souls were coming back from the dead and draining the life right out of their other family members' bodies. Over the course of the next 6 years, the family had already tragically lost 3 people. So in 1854, when Henry Nelson Ray, another son, started getting sick, the family could only think the worst. Out of pure fear and wanting to protect the remaining members of the family, they came to the conclusion that the brothers, Lemuel and Alicia, were visiting Henry Nelson at night and slowly draining the blood from his body. The family decided to take drastic measures, and on May 8, 1854, there was a gathering at the Jewett City Cemetery that consisted of the Ray family, several friends, and a few neighbors. Desperate to protect themselves from the undead, they turned to ancient beliefs and rituals to guard themselves from the spirits returning. The bodies of Lemuel and Alicia were both dug up from their graves. The people in attendance each participated to cut the hearts out of the bodies. It was believed that the family members would still be in danger as long as any portion of the corpse was intact. So tedious measures were taken to ensure that the hearts and bodies were completely burned. All that remained after the haunting cemetery ritual was ash and bone. Unfortunately, the attempt to end the all-consuming sickness's progression proved unsuccessful, with Henry Nelson Ray, the eldest Ray brother, dying that same year at the age of 34. Sadly, his wife and children were also all victims to the terrible illness that was quietly decimating the Ray family. As quickly as the illnesses came, they were gone, and in their wake, the Ray family was left torn apart by the unnamed sickness that plagued them for years. The end of the Ray family tragedies just happened to coincide with the tuberculosis plague ending in the United States. So, vampires or tuberculosis? Who knows? But what we do know is that on the darkest northern end of the Jewett City Cemetery, a line of headstones mark the final resting place of the Ray family. The memorial stands as a reminder of the power of fear and the tragedies that caused whispers of a curse to never fade. And that's the story of the Jewett City vampires. And that's the end.